Welcome back, guys, for the last session of the day. Yashi, it is very subjective, but no, these are notes themselves. I mean, what we have in the PPTs are notes. You may want to write the PPTs in your own handwriting. That's possible. But further summarizing the PPTs itself is a difficult task. Great, VK Kush. Amazing. Shweta, sir, today's session is very lengthy. Oh, yes, it is very lengthy. What can we do, ma'am? Such are the perils of life. Abhishek, I would have. Okay, sir, better luck next time, no problem. Asif, sufficient. PBT is sufficient. Great, Tarun. Maybe around 6-7 days, Ananya. Okay, now freedom of religion. Article 25 to 28. What is this freedom of religion? Let's wait for 1 more minute. Others will join and then we'll begin our discussion on freedom of religion. Yes, Lakshya. PU couple of more sessions. Yes, Mayank Badwani. The evening session today, and we have the Tuesday session. And then you'll have one more doubt session where I'll address your doubts. So, two more sessions plus one doubt session. That's all that is required. Now, moving on to freedom of religion, Article 25, 26, 27, 28. So, Article 25 talks about the freedom of conscience and free profession, practice, and the propagation of religion. Look at this nice photograph here. You can use this as a tattoo also. Coexist. Okay. We can't have tattoos. No, no, you can have tattoos. There is no such statement from UPSC where tattoo is not allowed. Of course, if you have a skull tattoo on your face only, that may not be appropriate. But anyway, I'm not promoting or degenerating tattoos. They are your personal choice. Let's move on. Let's move on. Not at all, Prem Kumar. That is something I love doing. So, yeah. Okay. First clause. Now, interesting is the point I'd like to make now. Please observe. If you see the other articles, say Article 19, for example, those articles start with giving us rights and then impose restrictions on these rights. Initially, rights, then restrictions. But Article 25 is exactly the opposite. So before it actually gives us something, it starts imposing restrictions only. Subject to public order, subject to morality, subject to health, and to other provisions of this part. Which part are we talking about? Part 3. So, subject to all these provisions, all persons are equally entitled to the freedom of conscience and the right of freely professing your religion, practicing your religion, and propagating your religion. So, look at this interesting point here. that all other provisions of Part 3 are a limitation on Article 25. So please never claim Article 25 as superior over other articles. This fundamental right is the most inferior amongst all fundamental rights because every other provision of this part acts as a restriction on Article 25. Did we understand the statement? Everyone, every other article of fundamental rights is a restriction on this article. So please never claim that Article 25 is supreme, it is above and beyond 19, 21, not at all. Okay? Now, conscience, profess, practice, propagate. What is the meaning of all these things? First step is conscience. What is conscience? Uh, let's say you believe God lies in the books. Good for you. You believe God lies in the place of worship. Great. You believe God lives in your parents. You believe God is in some other place. तुझ में रब दिखता है. No problem. Whatever relationship you have with God, you are free to develop that. Freedom of conscience. We will not question you, right? What is the relationship with God that you share? You talk to God, you fight with God, right? You request Him to help you clear UPSC. That's your personal problem. Do it. Complete freedom. Second, the freedom to profess, proclaim your religion. So there are various visible manifestations of how you profess your religion, how you proclaim your religion. For example, a Hindu could wear a tika, a Muslim could wear a skull cap, a Sikh could wear a turban. So those are symbols to profess your religion. And in the constitution it is mentioned that the wearing and carrying of kirpan, this is a kirpan, it's like a symbolic knife. The wearing and carrying of kirpans shall be deemed to be a part of profession of Sikh religion. So Sikh person is allowed to carry a kirpan, legally allowed to carry a kirpan everywhere because that is actually a part of his or her professing the religion. It's like a knife. Are we clear, everyone, now? So this is an explanation mentioned in the constitution itself. No, Chetna, it is not meant only for citizens, it's for everybody. Yes, everywhere. Everywhere. Plane, metro station, everywhere. Of course, it's a symbolic knife. They won't carry a machete or a sword. Symbolic knife. Then practice. You are free to practice your ritual. Completely free. Whatever you want to do, no problem whatsoever. And also free to propagate your religion. Puja, are you a Sikh? If not, sorry. The wearing and carrying of kirpans shall be deemed to be included in the profession of Sikh religion. This is mentioned in the constitution only. I have not given this explanation. In the constitution, this is mentioned. Clear? Okay. Practice is to carry out rituals. You are free to carry out any kind of rituals. Pavitra, now I know you're a school kid. Now I understand all your questions, where they're coming from. Pavitra, a Sikh who is a practicing Sikh has a right to carry the kirpan, whether he's meeting the governor or the president. Not does not mean he'll carry a machete everywhere. A symbolic small knife. That's also there. Are we clear? So it is not actually a knife which can cause some damage. For most Sikh people, they are not carrying some knife which can kill anybody. So at least have some basic common sense, right? I know the most uncommon thing is to have common sense only. But still, one more. Mayank Badwani ji, I was waiting for your doubts only, sir. Sir, I just explained that other provisions of this part are a restriction. This means all other provisions of part 3 act as a restriction. This means this right is the most inferior amongst all the fundamental rights. Okay? Are we clear now? Okay. So practice and then propagate the religion. Okay, so some of our innocent people have now joined this session. So now the pace gets slowed again with these questions. Are Abhishek, what I mentioned here? What is written here? Read this. Read this. Clear? Now, what is propagate? Transmit, spread. So every religious person has a right to spread his religion everywhere. Transmit or spread the doctrines of the religion. Okay? Everybody, are we clear? You have a right to maintain your relationship with God. You have a right to proclaim your religion. You have a right to practice the rituals, and you have a right to spread your religion. One small point. All these rights are there. Very good. Enjoy it. But please let me clarify. Nothing in this article shall affect the operation of any existing law or prevent the state from making any law. So state can make any kind of law to do what? To regulate or restrict economic, financial, political, or other secular activity which may be associated with religious practices. Clear? So the state can regulate all such activities. For example, if you are running a school, you are running a hospital, and you say, in my hospital, only priests will conduct operation. Then the state can say, sorry, no. Priests are not. Is the priest a doctor? No, he's just a priest. Then if he is not a doctor, then he is not allowed to practice the conduct operations. Simple. Are we clear? So state can regulate your secular activities which are associated with your religion. Guys, I will tell this once again. Please open your ears, wake up from sleep. The explanation number 2 and explanation number 1, these words that you see here written in white on a purple background, they are mentioned in the constitution. I have not written it. Okay, are we clear, everybody? Is it final? Will there be some more doubt on this? At least take some time out to read the constitution once in a while. Okay, these words are mentioned this exactly as mentioned here. Explanation number 2 is mentioned in the constitution. I hope that is done now. Let's move on. Okay, now please remember this provision. Article 25, clause 2, subclause B. Article 25, clause 2, subclause B. A very, very important provision. What is this? Nothing in this article shall affect the operation of any law or will prevent the state from making any law, providing for, please speak with me, social welfare and reform. The state can interfere in your religion, can make a law, and can provide for reform in your religion. In your religion, if you are following some abhorrent practice, draconian kind of practice, you are treating people or discriminating against people, etc., the state can interfere and remove that practice. Example, triple talaq. Okay. And the state will also throw open Hindu religious institutions of a public character to all classes of Hindus. And here, Hindu religious institutions refers to Sikh, Jain, Buddhists. Are we clear, everybody? So, the state can also make a law and say, come on, temples are open for everybody. Sikh, Jain, Buddhists. I'll repeat once again. The state can make a law. Can. It is not mandatory. Make a law. Can make a law. Okay? Everybody clear so far? Okay. Okay. Now, Abhishek, a small boy till you are 18, you have no freedom of choice. Your parents decide your religion. And for all of you here who believe in God also, let me surprise you. You believe in whatever form of God you do because you are born in a particular place, right? If you are born and you're born in a particular time frame, if you are born, say, 2000 years ago, you would not be believing in the same things. If you are born in some other place, you would not be believing in the same things. Clear? Okay. So let's not get into the intricate debate of religious practices that will not serve any purpose. Okay. No, this is specifically meant for Hindus. Specifically for Hindus. Now, because at that point of time, denying SC people temple entry was a very big problem. So this was seen as largely impacting the makers of our constitution. Please understand that makers of our constitution made this constitution in 1949. So of course, they were largely impacted by the issues that were being discussed at that point of time, right? So please don't judge their knowledge in the current scenario. We tend to judge people's behavior based on today's idea of morality, right? Okay. So this article is very important. This clause is very important. You have a right to practice your religion, but the state can make a law and interfere in your religious practice and can remove some practices because the purpose is to provide for social welfare and reform. Clear? Suresh, you also all okay? Rajan, just wait, just hold on. I'll address your concerns one by one, but let's know the provisions first. We are not yet done with Articles 25 and 26. Now, before we move on further, let me just explain. Right to propagate and right to convert. Right to propagate is the right to spread your religion. Does it also include the right to convert other people into your religion? Tell me. What is propagating? Marketing your religion. That's the whole point, right? Marketing your religion. But if my marketing has a problem that others should not purchase my product only, then what kind of right do I have? Right? So right to propagate should also include right to convert. But of course, as some of you are saying, not forceful. Definitely. The freedom of choice has to be there. Clear? Choice. So what happened was, lot of the Christian missionaries who were coming to India and who were already there in India, in states like MP and Odisha, they were converting tribals. Now, states like Odisha and MP, they made anti-conversion laws. Anti-conversion laws. Odisha in 1967, MP in 1968. Now, please hear what I'm saying. Ignore questions right now. Here, in MP, the High Court approved the law. In Odisha, High Court did not approve the law. Matter went to Supreme Court. In 1977, Reverend Father Stanislaus, a 5-judge bench, decided on this matter, right? And Justice A. Ray and all were a part of this bench. Supreme Court said that right to propagate does not include right to convert if conversion is obtained via force, fraud, allurement. If you convert people on these 3 grounds, then that is not allowed. What is force? You forcefully convert people, right? Use of physical force, etc. What is fraud? What is fraud? How do you convert people via fraud? Giving money, brainwashing, false claims. Okay. What is allurement? What is allurement? Luring people, giving money, etc. Incentives, etc. Okay. See, to trick into believing something is good. Freebies, great. Amazing. Now hear me out patiently. Force is very easy to understand. Coercive action. Fraud, if you say by purchasing, giving money, food grains, etc., understandable. But fraud and allurement also include giving them false sense of hope. Yes or no? Or hope. Join my religion, your life will be amazing. Right? Now, since all of you or most of you believe in religion, tell me, is it possible to prove the existence of God? No, be reasonable here. It's a belief, right? It's a belief. So you believe in God. You believe in a magical power. Simple. Others do not. I do. That's it. So it all boils down to your personal belief. Now, if somebody tells you, please join me. Come on. Once you die, your life will be amazing. That's a problem. Once you die, then only. Right now, I cannot change your life. But join my gang, it'll be amazing. Who knows? Everything every religious book promises. Can it not be construed? Can it not mean allurement and fraud? Tell me. If you can't prove it, I'll say it's a fraud. It's allurement. If today somebody gives you a ring and says, wear the ring, you'll clear UPSC. Where is the proof? You can't prove it? Oh, then that's fraud. The point is, These words are so vague that practically if anybody converts, it is a fraud only. If today I convert into, say, Hinduism or Islam or whatever religion based on some information, since that information can't be proved, that's a fraud only. This judgment was very poor, very, very poorly framed judgment, because practically everything can be fraud or allurement. But sadly, what will you expect from a bench which comprises of the great judges like Ian Ray and all? So this was a situation with this particular judgment, very poorly framed judgment. The rightful approach is to modify the judgment, to categorically define what exactly would amount to fraud and allurement. We should mention these things clearly. Bribing somebody, and that's a very bad thing to do actually. See, somebody comes to you and says, I'll give you 10,000 rupees. Join my religion. Come on. You'll say, get lost. But if somebody goes to a poor person who is finding it hard to meet the daily needs of his family, and you ask him or her, join my gang, I'll give you 1,000 rupees. He or she will say, okay, okay, which gang to join? Tell me. Oh, that God. Oh, best God. Give me food. My family is hungry. You are exploiting the situation of the person. This is the worst kind of treatment that they can met out to your individual people, right? This is not justified. I don't think your God would approve of it. Okay? So this is actually the sad state of affairs. But the problem is that these things are not defined only. And once the Supreme Court said this, it opened gates for similar laws. Various states have made laws like this now. Arunachal has a law since 1978. Chhattisgarh has a law since the year 2000. Gujarat has a law since 2003, right? Uttarakhand has a law since 2018. UP made a law recently in 2020, right? Himachal made a law in 2006, again 2019. So many states have now made anti-conversion laws. And you'll be surprised to know that in most of these laws, you have to seek permission to convert. You have to give prior notice to government. 15 days prior notice, 30 days prior notice, 60 days prior notice to convert. Why? Today I believe in Hinduism, I'll become a Hindu. Tomorrow Islam, Muslim. Day after Christianity. It's my personal problem. Why should I keep on giving information to the government that please, I want to convert? Why? If I want some benefit, of course I will give information. It's my personal choice. Look at the laws, and there are penalties also. What is a penalty to impose untouchability? What's the punishment? 6 months of jail, 500 rupees of fine, right? Here penalties are up to 5 years of jail, up to 50,000 rupees of fine. So for child labor, the maximum jail is 2 years. And for conversion, it's 5 years. There is no sense of proportionality only. So the point is that we have to amend this judgment, because neither are forceful conversions stopping, nor are you actually freely allowing people to convert. Simple. Are you clear? The problem is that the judgment should have been such that people should be able to convert freely, and you should also be able to prevent forceful conversion. Okay. Now, penalties are for converting people. But why should there be a penalty? If I have been able to sell you my product and you have liked the product, I'm a great salesman. That's true actually. I may be using some very marketing based terms, but that's actually true. Anyway, so this is the current situation. Now let's move on to Article 26. But before that, I need to also mention a small topic here. Secularism. What's the meaning of secularism? Secularism simply means separation, strict separation between state and church. Strict separation between state and religion, church. This is a Western definition, and that is why we have the Western model of secularism, which believes in strict separation. Religion and church are separate. So the idea is that state will not interfere in your affairs of religion. Interfere in matters of religion. Number one. Number two, state will not provide any kind of support. No support whatsoever for you. And don't worry, no hindrance, no obstruction also. I will not create any hindrance. I will not provide any support. So feel free. Do your drama. I have no interest. In your personal space only. Don't bring this in public. Sorry. Oh, somebody is harassing you. Oh, your problem. Now, what can be a possible concern here? I belong to a minority community, but the majority community is trying to impose their culture on me. State, please interfere. Sorry. Religion, personal matter. Don't call me. Sir, in my religion, I am facing discrimination. That's your personal problem. Please, not here. Are they trying to physically harm you? No. They're just treating me as untouchable. That's your personal problem. Don't come here. Are you able to understand the problem here? That a person who is from a minority group may always feel threatened. That where is the support? Within a religion, people who are marginalized based on some discriminatory practice, they may feel threatened. And state has no interest in you protecting your dignity, etc. So the alternative is the Indian model. Indian model is seen as a more positive model, wherein, first things first, state has no religion. And there is inter-religious equality, complete equality. The state here deals with the religious freedom of majority and minority. And the most important element which defines our Indian secularism is that state can interfere. Article 25, clause 2, subclause B. So there is no concept of strict separation. State can interfere for what? To protect and provide for social welfare. This is what the state can do, right? That is why we say that Indian secularism is based on the concept of principled intervention. The state will intervene based on some principles of welfare and reform. You can also call it or principled distance. The state says I am keeping a safe distance as long as you don't discriminate. If you do this drama, then I have to engage with religion and oppose the tyranny. Are we clear? Principled intervention is allowed. Our model ensures that everybody feels safe. No marginalization, no discrimination, no ill treatment, no attack on dignity of any individual. This is the idea of Indian secularism. I think all of you would know all these things because it is an assumption that you must have studied this book. Political Theory, Chapter 8. Yes or no? I just want to know questions on this book. Is there nobody who's asking me which book is this? Oh, pretty surprising that you have been studying this book. Amazing. Great. So that is all as far as secularism is concerned. Now, moving on to the next article, Article 26. Article 25 is for individuals, 26 is for group. Freedom to manage religious affairs. Article 26. Subject to, again, the same old story, public order, morality, health. That's it, not other parts. Every religious group, denomination is a group, or any section has the right to establish their own institutions and manage it. Very important. To manage their own affairs in matters of religion. Every religious group has the right to manage its own affairs. To acquire property. Look at this. People have no fundamental right to property, but a religious group has a fundamental right to property. And to administer such property in accordance with law. Article 26. Are we clear, everybody? No doubts? Simple, sweet article. Now, since you have the right to manage your own affairs, then I also have the right to decide who can come in my temple, who cannot come in my temple. Yes. Sabrimala. So basically, I'm sure you're all aware. I'll just brief the issue. Sabrimala is considered the abode of Lord Ayappa. See, this temple is located in the Periyar Tiger Reserve in the Western Ghat mountain range in Kerala. Okay. Clear on this? Lord Ayappa has taken the vow of celibacy. So he is a celibate Lord, meaning Nashtik Brahmacharya. Okay, Brahmacharya. He's a 12-year-old Lord, son of Shiva and Vishnu in his avatar of Mohini. Now, in this temple, because this Lord was a Brahmachari Lord, women's entry was not allowed. And back in 1965, the Kerala government made a rule. Follow me clearly. The Kerala government made a rule that entry of women between the ages 10 to 50 years will not be allowed. Temple did not allow entry of women in general. But Kerala government said that, okay, the Lord is a brahmachari, right? So we should not allow entry of women who are of a reproductive age. So largely girls start menstruating by the time they reach 12, 13 years. So on a safe side, 10 years. And it ends by the time they reach 40, 45 or 45, 48, 50 years. Okay. So between these two age groups, denied temple entry. Now, this petition was filed in 1990s in the Kerala High Court. Kerala High Court accepted the temple's argument and upheld the denial of entry of women as constitutional because under Article 26 Clause B, the temple has a right to manage its own affairs in matters of religion. But then Indian Young Lawyers Association, group of lawyers, filed a PIL before the Supreme Court in 2006. This matter was pending in the court. It was being decided slowly and steadily. Finally, in 2018, the matter was decided by the Supreme Court. And on the 28th of September 2018, the judgment came and the Supreme Court said that this exclusion of women violated the fundamental right of women. And the Kerala government's rule number 3B of the public worship rules was unconstitutional by a 4:1 verdict. 4:1. Four judges said it is wrong. One judge, Justice Indu Malhotra, said that no, it is okay. Temple has a right to manage its own affairs. So what did Supreme Court say? Supreme Court said that this denial of entry is wrong. Why? Because it denudes women from freedom of worship. Woman, any woman has a right to worship, and if you are denying them entry, you are denying them their right to worship. Now, the problem with such judgments is that if I try to place Article 25, your right to practice your religion, against Article 26, Article 25 has a lower position. So Article 26 wins. So what did Supreme Court do? Supreme Court deliberately made Article 17 a part of it. Now, Supreme Court says this amounts to untouchability. Untouchability. Article 17. And Supreme Court did an amazing play of words. Supreme Court said lack of definition of untouchability means it covers everyone. It is silly, preposterous to even think on those lines. Untouchability was clearly based on a certain concept. You cannot use this everywhere. This is so silly to even think that Supreme Court would go down this path. So what did they say? When a woman or a girl is menstruating, you are telling her not to enter the temple because she is polluted. Firstly, Supreme Court on its own thought that people are saying you are polluted. The temple is saying that by you are of a reproductive age, please don't come to the garbhagriha, please don't touch the Lord, because Lord has taken a vow of celibacy. Then Supreme Court says that this is like treating them as untouchables. Article 17. Supreme Court invoked Article 17 here. I mean, they are judiciary, they are experts in the field of law. Why would you invoke untouchability, which is meant for a certain section of society? Are you getting my point? And then the court says, state can bring social welfare and reform. We are bringing social welfare and reform. But my lords forgot one thing, that as per Article 12, you are not a part of state. Judiciary is not a part of state. So you should tell the parliament to make a law. Why did you give a judgment like this? And this is where the problem is. Back in 1954, there was a case called Shirur Mutt case. In this case, a 7-judge bench of Supreme Court gave a judgment. See, you in your practicing your religion are performing hundreds of rituals, but not every ritual will be given constitutional protection. Okay? The court has said there are some rituals which are very, very important. If you don't practice that ritual, then you are not enjoying the right of or the freedom of religion. But the point is, who will decide that? Who will decide that? Court says we will decide. We. Because courts are experts in everything. Do you remember the Rajpal Yadav scene from Chup Chup Ke? I am an expert. I know everything. So courts have said that we will decide what is essential to religion, what is not. And court says we will rely on doctrines of religion, evidences, people's behavior. What people's behavior are you going to rely on? Think of a Hindu who is practicing some ritual in Tamil Nadu, and think of a Hindu who is practicing some ritual in, say, Jharkhand. Are these people practicing the same kind of rituals? No, they are not. Right? Rituals keep on varying. What behavior are you relying on? And then you say, I will rely on practices which are existing since a long period of time. What if the practice that is existing is violating somebody's dignity? Will you follow that also? Makes no sense. The court should stay out of it. Parliament should make a law. Whether to deny entry or allow entry is an area of the parliament. But courts have hijacked this. What can we say? Anyway, the matter is pending in the court right now again because a review petition was filed and is still pending. In fact, now the matter has become a bigger matter where Kantaviru case. 9-judge bench is now looking into this topic, the right of women to enter the place of worship. Because there are other issues also, like say a Parsi woman who marries a non-Parsi is not allowed to enter the fire temple, or the practice of female genital mutilation in the Daudi Bohra community. So all these are being looked into. See, the court got it wrong on 3 occasions, rather. Firstly, court should not have any right to decide what is essential practice and what is not. They are not experts in religion. Number 2, invoking untouchability is wrong. Menstruation is not untouchability, right? For 2 reasons. You are diluting the historical injustice faced by scheduled caste people, making a mockery out of it. And also, in the same Hindu fold or Sanatan fold, if you go to Kamakhya, you will find that in Assam, you'll find that this practice of menstruation is worshipped. So calling that untouchability is far-fetched. Now, is it also not a fact that a lot of women themselves do not enter temple while they are menstruating? It's a natural fact. See, the whole point is, if you believe in God, you believe in all these practices. And if you don't believe in God, then to hell with all these practices. So the point is that, see, is it not happening? I'm sure some of you would know this, that a menstruating girl or a woman may not be allowed entry in the place of worship. Maybe in your house you have some kind of a place for worshipping, the puja, etc. Not being allowed to touch, right? If you are planning to go on a temple visit, girls make it a point to ensure that they're not menstruating, or else trip cancelled, can't go, take some medicines. Or entry in kitchen. Now, of course, these are practices which make no sense. No sense at all. I mean, but yes, even then, it would be more appropriate for the parliament to make a law. Our point is, court is not an expert, right? And this is a public place of worship, which also impacts, right, other people. So I think the first thing that we should do is tell people in our place, our homes, to avoid all this nonsense. And then only should we go and make changes in the temples, right? So these kind of topics, are very controversial, because again, a very singular argument can be if you believe in religion, then believe in the practices. And if you don't believe in religion, then what the hell is the importance of a temple or a mosque or a gurudwara? It means nothing to you. And frankly, you will witness this today, that nowadays places of worship have become tourist spots. People come for a picnic. I mean, a lot of people who actually believe in God, I'm really surprised. What is the belief that you share when you treat a place of worship as a tourist spot, right? That's not a tourist spot. But anyway, so this is the idea of Sabrimala. There's a whole point here that two issues largely. Number one, courts should not decide, parliament should decide. And number two, this is a public place, so larger public will is also important. Even if you want to allow entry of women, that should only come slowly and steadily. See, that is a logical step, right? And number three, if you allow this entry through courts, then it opens this legal battles for other people also. Men will now claim, we want to do this practice. Why? Equality. That is why, if you follow a religious practice, it becomes a very big problem. You try to estimate a practice by the importance it has been given in the religion. That's not how it works. So I would actually agree on what Justice Chandrachud said here. So he actually made a very rightful point, that due to this essentiality doctrine, judges are now assuming a theological role which they are not expected to do. Due to this, the opinion of a judge is more powerful than an entire religion, and the voice as strong as that of God. And the judge is abolishing an ancient practice just by a blow of the mallet. Mallet is the hammer that the judge has. M-A-L-L-E-T, mallet. So order, mallet. And yes, one line he made was absolutely correct. The test should be whether a practice subscribes to the constitutional provisions or not, irrespective of whether it is essential or not. Now, I may hurt some of your emotions while making this statement, but this is the reality. Whether your religion believes in that or not, sorry, if any practice violates anybody's dignity, I'm sorry, that should go away, right? So that is how the point is. So whether you want the entry or not is your personal choice, but we cannot let religious doctrines decide what is right or wrong. I think we have crossed that phase, right? Anyway, so this is all, and the same thing goes for hijab also. So hijab ban, the judgment is pending in the Supreme Court, has the same problem. See, nowadays we have gotten this idea somehow that we will tell you what is right and wrong for you. For example, wearing a hijab takes away somebody's right to live freely. You are being forced into wearing a hijab. But did you ask the woman? Did you ask her? What if she is doing it out of choice? Are you getting my point? The idea is that we are telling you, wait, you don't know. You are being suppressed. You are being harassed. What is this? Take off the hijab. By choice is the point here. Let them have the choice. So the problem is this only, that we have taken on the mantle of deciding what is right, what is wrong. So if somebody wants to, so be it. If somebody does not want to, so be it. How hard it is for us to accept that a female can have a choice of her own. Is it still that difficult to accept this? Anyway, Abhishek, Muslim women not being allowed to offer namaz in the same mosque where men are offering namaz. In Sabrimala case, women are not allowed to for me both. As I said, the matter has been sent for the court to decide, right? And the court is discussing on the matter. Why to make any kind of statement on these things? There should always be the element of choice, number one. And number two, see, religion is also such a practice, which is, I think, the biggest trick that religion has played is what? It has told you you can't question it. That's it. That is what it is. This is the biggest impediment. There are no rigorous scientific evidences. We don't follow it, right? That is the problem. So this topic becomes controversial because of the idea that it is dividing people of asking questions. And see, for most of us, we are born in families where people have been practicing certain religion, and they have had these practices. And right now, there are some people who don't believe in God at all. Handful of you only. But trust me, what is the problem here? The problem here is that even for those people, if I ask you, come on, put your foot, clean foot on a piece of paper, you will not do it. It's naturally ingrained in you because you have been taught like this. It's just like when the national anthem is played, we stand up for the anthem. It's naturally ingrained in us, right? So, anyway, that's it. The summary of this discussion is that the court has to decide. So, we will not make any statements on a matter which is sub judice. And if a question is asked in the interview, you can simply say that choice is important. And what I said was the test has to be that any practice should not violate constitutional norms. And number three, the parliament is a more appropriate place to decide on these matters through legislations after detailed discussions with the stakeholders. Are we clear? Okay. So this is there with respect to Sabrimala. Now coming to the other articles, 27 and 28, easy articles. Ishita, all Of course, that's true. I think for Parliament to take a tough decision would, of course, be a huge challenge. That is why that is our concluding argument. That ultimately, it should come from there, but largely these things should come from society. Okay. Abhishek sir, school is a separate institution which have dress code, so it should be separate from religion. See, I would agree and also disagree. If the school wants to impose a dress code, we must follow Article 19(1)(g). I fully agree with that. But if somebody wears a thread, a skull cap, a hijab, I'm not sure how it is causing public disorder. How is it impacting morality or health? But if you tell me, sir, legally, yes, a school is a place run by a particular person or a group, and 19(1)(g) says you are free to run your institution. But the larger perspective is, what's the problem? Okay, Pavitra, but let it okay. Pavitra, you are too young for this complication. It is making people divided. School is a place where we are all the same. What is the problem if people know that they are following a different religion? Why are we so afraid of this? Why is it that religion is your only identity? Why? Why do you focus so much on uniformity? Why not unity? Is uniformity the solution to all the problems? Tell me. So it's okay. It's okay. Anyway, this is a never ending discussion. As I said, to each his own. Right? No problem. And don't worry, UPSC will never ask a question on Sabrimala judgment. They don't ask question on reservation policy and religion, especially if it is a complicated one, because they know very well that there are no right and wrong answers. Anyway, Article 27. Let's move on now. So the point here is, do you remember these medieval India classes in your school days? By any chance, have you ever come across this concept? Hafta wasuli, jazya, right? What is this jazya? Jazya used to be an additional tax being imposed on non-Muslims. Non-Muslims were called zimmi, the protected subjects. So, to protect you, money, give me money. That's the beauty of religion. Religion loves money, right? All religions want money. So, this was a tax imposed on non-Muslims. So, why I'm saying this is, such kind of tax will no longer be required. You can't impose it. Freedom as to payment of taxes for promotion of any particular religion. No person shall be compelled to pay any tax, the proceeds of which are specifically appropriated for payment of expenses or promotion or maintenance of any particular religion. So there will be no Hindu tax, no Muslim tax, etc. Now, if you say, sir, government is using money to promote some religion, is that justified? That's okay. No problem. Supreme Court has said that small amount of money, if it is used to provide convenience, no problem. Are we clear? A specific kind of tax will not be imposed on any religious group. Right? Prem Kumar, it is not. Done and dusted. Let's move on. right to education is in the form and manner that the school provides. Okay. You have a choice to go to some other school. Article 28. So one more thing, just to at this point, there have been ample examples to showcase this, that various state governments do spend money with respect to religion. Like the Kerala government, every year it spends around 45 to 50 lakh rupees on the Travancore Devasam fund, and the Tamil Nadu government around 14 lakh rupees. Government of India has spent 10 crore rupees in the Amarnath Yatra route infrastructure maintenance. Rajasthan government gave 39 crore rupees to the Devasthan department in 2017 budget. MP government runs senior citizens schemes, trips to Ajmer. In Gujarat, the Muslim imams are on state salary. In West Bengal also, Muslim imams are on state salary. In Karnataka, in the 2015-16 budget, 16 crore rupees was spent on churches. In Bihar, out of 4,000 madrasas, 1,127 are run by the state. In UP, 800 crore rupees was spent on the pilgrimage to Kashi, Mathura, Ayodhya. 394 crore rupees was given to madrasas. So every state is spending money on these activities. It is okay, it is allowed. Are we clear? Everybody? Waqf board Abhishek is not a concern for the class. Ignore it. Now coming to Article 28. Freedom as to attendance of religious instruction. When it comes to your school or college, the instructions, the religious instructions cannot be imparted in any school or college which is run or maintained by the, or owned and maintained by the center or the states. If the government runs any school or college, then religious instruction will not be provided. Just to clarify, if you are being taught a chapter on Guru Nanak, a chapter on Prophet Muhammad, a chapter or lesson on Jesus Christ, Ramayana, etc., that is not a religious instruction class. A religious instruction means to teach you how to worship, how to offer namaz. That is called a religious instruction. Okay, that will not be allowed in a state run school or college. Clear? Number two. So if you are reading some kind of singing some song, I don't think that construes, that amounts to any religious instruction. Now, second, those schools or colleges which are getting government funds, in those schools and colleges, instruction is allowed, but with parents' consent only. And number three, those set up by a religious denomination or a charitable trust. If a religious group is setting up a school or college, like say madrasa, in madrasas, of course, the school will teach you also and will also force you to attend. In madrasas, the Quran is taught, right? That's the whole point of a religious institution. Are we clear on this, everybody? So, state or state government run school and college will not, but otherwise in other schools and colleges, it can be provided. It's your choice whether you want to study or not, read or not, attend or not. If not, don't attend. See, a question was asked in 2019, a very simple question. What can France learn from Indian constitution's approach to secularism? France is a reference to Western model actually. So we just explained this Western model. What's the problem with Western model? The problem with Western model is the idea of non-interference, which sometimes becomes a problem for the people who are suffering. But India provides for principled intervention, protecting everybody. So, of course, this is there. And as I said, chapter 8, secularism, they have taken this question from there only. Yes, I showed this question in the very first class again also. Next two rights, 29 and 30, very simple, very easy to understand. Article 29, protection of the interest of minorities. Minorities. Again, let me just remind you, Sandeep, sir, I personally think that the way people of Muslim community use the microphone multiple times in the name of praying is also not right. If it is actually causing a concern to you, then it is not right, frankly. And the courts have given judgments on this. All these offering of namaz or singing of DJ songs and all these processions that come out in the name of religion or the jagratas that you have, ask the students who are studying for the examination how they get harassed. So yes, if it is causing any disturbance to you, feel free, right? But again, the idea is there should be complete equality, right? So I hope these statements come from non-biased behavior. That is the point here. Now, anyway, now I'm sure lot of people from respectable families are too afraid to be a part of most of these processions. I'm not sure how it is uplifting the dignity of the God you worship so much. When you sing songs onto the tune of some very vulgar Hindi cinema song. But anyway, it's okay. Only if people could understand, things would not have gone down the drain for us. So, Article 29, protection of the interest of minorities. Any section of citizens, as I said, remember 5 articles meant only for citizens 15, 16, 19, 29, 30. Any section of citizens residing in the territory of India or any part having a distinct language, script, culture, have a right to conserve their language, script, or culture. And we have seen this article earlier also in the Champakam Durai Ranjan case. No citizen shall be denied admission in any educational institution run by the state on the grounds of religion, race, caste, or language. Now, Article 30, right of minorities to establish educational institutions. All minorities, whether religious or linguistic. So, religious minorities are on a pan-India basis. So, there is no definition of minorities. So, largely it is assumed that in India we follow the formula that if you are less than 50% minority. So, we have Muslims, Christians, Sikh, Buddhist, Jains, and Parsis. Okay. Or language. Now, linguistic minorities are on a state-wide basis. Because states have been carved on the basis of language. At least some states have been. So all minorities have a right to manage their own institutions, and the state, when it grants aid or money to schools and colleges, it should not discriminate on this ground that some school or college is being run by minorities. Are we clear? The state should not discriminate on these grounds. Okay. But just to clarify, there is a Supreme Court judgment, the TMA Pi case. Of 2003. So not just minority, but every person, every citizen has a right to set up and administer their school or college. You have a right. And also, because of this article, MEI, what is MEI? Minority Educational Institutions. So, minority educational institutions can also be forced into admitting certain students of other uh, religions, because reservation can be provided by the respective state governments in the MEIs. Clear? It is allowed. Number three, state can also prescribe admission procedure for aided MEIs. So if any MEI is getting government funds, the state can provide for admission procedure. And if an MEI is not getting government funds, still the state has the MEI should ensure that they follow a fair and transparent procedure. See, the idea here is Supreme Court has said in a very old case. This was a case involving the madrasas in Bihar. So Supreme Court said in that particular case that, see, you have a right to what? What is the right that you have? You have the right to run your institution, to administer your MEI. It does not give you the right to maladminister. Right to administer. Very important. The right has been given to properly run your school or college, not maladminister. Are we clear? This was what Supreme Court said in 1989. This was the Hanfi Arabic College case versus Bihar State Madrasa Education of 1989. Because see, always understand that a fine balance has to be maintained. What's the balance? Rights of minorities must be preserved, but we have to also ensure the standards of excellence, fairness, transparency in education system, right? We need to ensure, for example, look at the last point. The court said that state can prescribe qualifications for teachers and principal in your minority education institutions. So you cannot hire any random person, right? Because you are going to impart instruction to the coming generation. So standards of excellence must be met in ensuring that kids get proper education. Are we clear on this, everybody? So that's it, Articles 29 and 30. Let's move on now. Now, before we discuss Article 32, a small point in between, a very small point. Should we take a break? A break warranted? It is. Oh, no, yes. Interesting. I mean, I'm getting a pretty mixed response. 10 seconds. A for yes, B for no. Okay, a lot of you want a break. No problem. The last break will come at 7:05 and we'll continue further. Let's take a small break. And once we are done, the last 45 or 55 minutes will be invested into understanding the remaining topics. Break, please. Okay, so should we now begin? Abhishek, sir, tomorrow is okay. MEI. Arey, Pihu, it's mentioned right here. What an amazing question asked. What is the full form of MEI? MEI. Surprising. So Abhishek, okay. One of the aspirant, Abhishek, celebrates his birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Abhishek, in advance. Great. Now, right to property. Roshan, my also. Okay, sir, Roshan. You also. Happy birthday. Anybody else celebrating his birthday tomorrow? Okay. So for Roshan and Abhishek, happy birthday from me and all the other people. Of course, of course. Dhanya, Vaishali, my friend. It's okay, it's okay. Guys, not your friends, those who are attending the session. Okay. Now, right to property. Right to property used to exist in the constitution under article 19(1)(f), article 31. So this is something we've already seen earlier. Now 31, clause 1. No person shall be deprived of his property save by authority of law. Your property will not be taken away, but can be taken away by a law. Are we clear? People's properties could be taken away through a law. And your property will not be compulsorily acquired by the government, but it can be done for a public purpose and by authority of law. A law can be made to take away your property for a public purpose, like building a bridge, national highway, railway tracks, laying down of the tracks, etc. But don't worry, you will be given an amount which will be fixed by the law. And whatever amount is given will not be called into question in any court. But sadly, Supreme Court said no. If the amount is too less, people can come and people can approach the court and also do what? Complain to me, and I can look into whether the amount is sufficient or not. Now, exceptions to right to property. So, do you remember the Keshwanan Bharti judgment? Basically, the whole story started in 1951, right? 1951, when the land reform started. So, what was the content of the First Amendment Act? Basically, the First Amendment Act added two things: Article 31 capital A and Article 31 capital B. So, what is this 31A? It says that the state can make laws to acquire large estate, large properties, etc. Your huge land holding, the state can acquire your property. And if the state makes a law to take away property, you cannot question those laws on the ground of violating fundamental rights, like Article 19, 1G, 1F. This was the law change made actually. This is what was the amendment. That amendment said that the state can make laws and you cannot question those laws in the court. Okay. And one more change was made. Article 31B. And what is this change? So, a separate schedule was created called Schedule 9. What is this Schedule 9? So, basically, the parliament said we are creating a safe space, a box. And if we make any kind of law and we place the law in the box, that law will now become immune from judicial review. Are we clear? Any law violating any fundamental right, if it is placed under Schedule 9, it is immune from judicial review. Judiciary cannot question it, cannot challenge it. Are we clear? If I make a law right now to challenge your fundamental right, let's say I make a law that you have no right to follow your religion, right? And I place this law in this Schedule 9. It will not be challenged in the court. This was done basically to make all these land reform laws, and the parliament placed these laws in Schedule 9. So now the land reform laws, which took the land away from the rich zamindars, could not be questioned because Schedule 9 is a schedule which contains list of laws which are immune from judicial review. Are we clear, everybody? Now, please tell me, do you think it's a good idea to create a place where we make and place any law and that law should be immune from any questioning? I think all of you agree. That's great. See, maybe the intention of that government was very nice, but can we guarantee this nice intention forever? What if tomorrow a law is made, Permanent Prime Minister Act, and as per this law, Indira Gandhi is a Prime Minister forever, or Narendra Modi is a Prime Minister forever, and we place this law in Schedule 9. Judiciary cannot question it. What kind of law is this? Again, the point is, you are trying to give the executive, the legislature, such a power which is unrestricted, arbitrary, unfettered, unlimited. It violates which article? Article 14. It violates which article? Rule of law. And the most important, you are saying that something is beyond judicial review. Judicial review, dear aspirants, is a part of basic structure now. So basically, this particular point was raised in the Supreme Court in the I.R. Coelho case, 2007. Supreme Court said that, see, my dear innocent MPs, all the laws that were added till 1973, that is the date of Keshwanan Bharati judgment, all the laws added till this date, no problem, they are immune. But any and every law that was added after this date, it will not get any kind of protection, sorry, if it violates basic structure. So the court has said that after this date of judgment, any law that was added to the 9th schedule, it can be questioned on the ground of violating basic structure, only basic structure. If it violates the basic structure, sorry, we cannot allow that law to continue. Whether you place it in Schedule 9 or wherever, we don't care. Did we understand this point, including the concept of 31B and Schedule 9? Everybody? No problem, no concern? Okay. So, in fact, Supreme Court used very harsh words. Supreme Court said that it is not permissible for the legislature to escape the scrutiny of basic structure doctrine by finding manifestly cunning ways to get around it, calling the intention of the politicians as cunning. Imagine if you call the intention of judge cunning, direct contempt of court. But judges can do anything. They can make fun of everybody. You can't make fun of judges. Judges call the CBI caged parrot. Judges call the Lokpal as a toothless tiger, a paper tiger. Judges call the NHRC as a toothless tiger. Basic structure doctrine. Okay, K. Mahesh. See, the motto of Schedule 9 was to ensure that land reform laws are not challenged in any court. That was the motto. Now, when Indira Gandhi was in power, she said, no, before that, let me read for you two DPSP articles, just in between. Yes, Dhanya, it is under judicial review. And Jay Lalita did not keep it under Schedule 9. Parliament did it at the request of the state government. Okay, so DPSP, let's read these two articles. I'll explain the meaning of it first. So we all want welfare. Yes or no? Welfare of our people. And there should be a sense of equality. Country's resources should be meant for everybody, not just for the Ambanis, Adanis, Tatas, Birlas. So this first clause says, the state shall in particular direct its policies towards securing that the ownership and control of the resources of the country are distributed to subserve the benefit of everybody. Country's resources for everyone. And that the operation of the economic system does not result in the concentration of wealth and means of production to the common detriment, meaning there should not be any concentration of wealth and the country's wealth should be meant for everybody. Are we clear? Everyone. Such noble intentions. Now, Indira Gandhi government said that whenever we try to take any progressive step to take money from rich and give to poor, or we try to take a step to promote the interest of poor people, somebody goes to court challenging Article 14, equality, etc. So she made a change. Article 31C was added. It says if a law is made to give effect to these two DPSPs, and that law violates Article 14 or 19, it does not matter. So basically, Article 39, B and C are more important than fundamental rights 14 and 19. Did we understand this? Just remember this. 39 B and C. Country's welfare is more important than Article 14 and Article 19. Meaning, yes, we can treat people as unequals, we can promote the interest of weaker people at the cost of rich people. Rich people don't cry. Simple. Later on, in 1976, Indira Gandhi expanded this, saying that if we want to achieve any DPSP, we can violate Article 14 and 19. Now, that was a bit too much because a lot of DPSPs are very vague. Supreme Court said, sorry, this is okay, no problem. No problem whatsoever. But this is not okay. So this was cancelled. So 31C right now says that in pursuance of these two DPSPs, even if you violate Article 14 or 19, it is justified. And DPSP, my innocent people, stands for Directive Principles of State Policy. Don't worry what is that. On Tuesday, we'll discuss what is DPSP. Clear? Just understand these two provisions. Did we understand this? And you'll have a better understanding of this point when we discuss DPSPs, because DPSPs are very vague in nature. So you'll get to know why Supreme Court cancelled this. Are we clear? Just remember this point. This point is not important also. And just on a side note, there also existed an Article 31D, which was made during emergency. And the purpose was that if the parliament made any law to prevent anti-national activity, that would be immune from judicial review. What kind of arbitrary law is this? You'll make any law to prevent anti-national activities and then jail people randomly. Thankfully, through the 43rd Amendment Act, this article was repealed. End of story. Clear, everyone? No problem? Okay. Now, lastly, when Janata Party was in power, not clear. Satyapal, what is not clear? This 31D. Sir, the question here is 31D simply said that if the parliament makes any law to prevent anti-national act. Dhanya, don't ask all these questions here. What was the 42nd AA? Please, don't make such statements. It's traumatizing. I have to sleep at night also, madam, please. In the last classes of polity, you are asking me what is this? I think the only option left for me is giving up on life. 42nd Amendment Act of 1976, please. Guys, firstly, 31D. Any law, if you make any kind of law to prevent anti-national activities, right? That law, however draconian the law may be, it will not be questioned by any court. This was 31D. Okay? But this was repealed later on. So it makes no sense now. It is not there only. I just gave an information, additional information to you. Okay? Explain the first point again. Mayank Wadhwani, 2-3 people keep on asking me to repeat everything here. Where are you when you are when I'm explaining the thing in the first go? As soon as some people joined, I knew the class will get delayed further. See, please hear me out. Please. Please focus on what I'm explaining. Stop watching TV, talking to your friends, and looking at your mobile phone. Focus. 30 minutes are left. The idea of these two articles, forget DPSP. What is DPSP? We don't care only. Ignore it. DPSP, ignore it. Just look at these two sentences. The idea is the state should try to make such policies which redistribute the wealth of the country. Like land reform. What is land reform? Taking land from rich people and giving to poor people. What is that? Redistributing country's wealth. Okay? And also try to make those kind of laws which reduce the concentration of wealth. Again, redistributing wealth. Concentration of wealth means wealth gets concentrated in the hands of few people. Ambani's, Adani's, Tata's, Birla's getting richer, poor getting poorer. Now, when you make such laws which are making special provisions for the poor people, the rich can go to court and say, what is this nonsense? State, why this discrimination? Article 14, equality, this is wrong. So the Indira Gandhi government said, forget it. You can't go to court only. If I am trying to make laws for these two things, then Article 14, right to equality, Article 19, your right to practice your profession, trade, it does not matter. If it is getting violated, to hell with you. You cannot question these things. The judiciary cannot cancel the laws that we make. Are we clear now, everybody? Those who are asking the question, you say yes. Others don't say yes. Okay. Great. Amazing. Now, one last point before we move on is this entire concept of property drama. All these were happening because of land reform. The government wanted to play Robin Hood, take land from rich and give to poor, and it was violating the fundamental right. So Janata Party said, what are we doing? What the hell is happening? Let's modify and remove the right to property only. Right? Best thing. Article 19, clause 1, subclause F, repealed. End of story. Now keep on crying. Right? Gone. Khatam. Okay? 31.2, repealed. And Article 31.1, no person shall be deprived of his life, of his property, save by procedure, save by authority of law. 31.1. So what happened was, think of this. This is your constitution, in which we have a small section called part 3, in which there is an article called 31 clause 1. The Janata Party said, we are taking this out from here and throwing it in the constitution under article 300A. When you move it out of part 3, it ceases to become a fundamental right. Yes or no? So this was made into a constitutional right. Clear? That's it. And all this was done through the 44th Amendment Act 1978. Clear, everyone? All okay? If it is so much okay, then please solve this question. This question. Firstly, this question. Abhishek, oh, you're asking me only, sir. Great, amazing. Please mark one, sir. Right to property, is it a fundamental right now? Of course not. We have removed it. Neither fundamental nor legal. Do you remember that constitution is also a law? So anything inside the constitution is also legal. Yes or no? Tarun, don't ask me, you tell me. Fundamental right, the very first slide. Constitution is also a law. What is legal, which is given through a law? Constitution is also a law. I'm tired of explaining this point. I'm not sure. Only God can come and explain this now. He can feed this directly in your mind. That constitution is only a law. Right. Legal right. Yes, of course. But legal right available to citizens only, or any person? Any person. 15, 16, 19, 29, 30 are those fundamental rights which are available to only citizens. Apart from it, Article 31.1 became this. What is Article 31.1? No person, and this is now Article 300 capital A. Clear? Okay. Tell another which is for all. Right to strike is for all. Madhuri, no, I cannot suggest that, madam. Sorry. You please watch yesterday's video, the fundamental rights page. You will find that. Shashank, only for citizens. Right to vote? What are you doing? This will never end. Okay. Let me draw this diagram for you. Guys, calm down. That is why I'm afraid of saying anything here. Because the moment I say something, you will ask me the backstory of it after forgetting everything. Fundamental right, constitutional right, legal right. Done. Shashank says fundamental right for all citizens. How do I respond to this, sir? I've been singing this song since yesterday. What is this Gajni effect that happens to you? 5 fundamental rights are meant only for citizens. Others, please write. What are those 5 rights meant for citizens only? How will we survive the onslaught of UPSC and this Zalim Dunya with such innocence? Look at the answers. 15, 20. 15, 16, 19, 29, 30. These are the 5 fundamental rights available to only citizens. Okay, a lot of you are getting it right. Okay, great. Solve this question now. Don't waste time. Enough of jokes. I'll launch a poll after some time. Choose the answer very, very carefully. Apply some common sense also. Slightly uncommon, but please try to. Great. So all these answers have revived my hope in humanity. I will survive. We'll meet on Tuesday definitely. Should I launch the poll now? Mark the answer. When the Supreme Court said that because of fundamental right, Article 29 Clause 2, reservation is getting violated, what did the Parliament do? To get around the judicial interpretation, did the Parliament not make the First Amendment Act? Tell me. Yes or no? 86 can't be the answer, right to education. 44th can't be the answer, it was done to correct the wrongs. 42nd was meant only to, during emergency, to enlarge the government's power in every area. Okay. First Amendment Act, 1951. Let's move on now to Article 32. Okay, answer this question for me, please. If your rights are getting violated, what do you do? Tell me. You have been given all these rights to enjoy. If your rights are getting violated, what do you do? Go to court. Where is it mentioned? Where is this mentioned? Article 32. Absolutely correct. Right? So it is this Article 32 which is actually the most important article. Because if your rights are getting violated, how will we protect those rights? By moving to the court. Right? This article ensures that the people's rights get protected. And Ambedkar actually mentioned about this Article 32. He said that if I was asked, nobody was asking him, he said it himself. If I was asked to name any particular article in this constitution as the most important, an article without which the constitution is a nullity, he continues and says, I could not refer to any other article except this one. It is the very soul of the constitution, the very heart of it. So Ambedkar has called this the heart and soul of the constitution. Like you call somebody is your heart, somebody is your soul. Ambedkar says this is the soul of the constitution. Not SOLE, SOUL. Okay? Don't write SOLE. Meaning will change completely. So Article 32 provides us the power to issue writs. What is writ? Writ means, tell me guys please, orders or directives are called writs. Now, Supreme Court can issue writs for the protection of to protect what? Fundamental rights. But high courts, on the other hand, they also have the power to issue writs. Yes or no? Which article is this? Quickly tell me. High courts. 226. Very good. But high courts can issue writs to protect fundamental rights and other matters also. So if your fundamental rights are getting violated, you can directly go to Supreme Court. But if your other rights are getting violated, you have to first go to High Court. And Parliament by law can enhance the writ power of Supreme Court, and Parliament may by law also empower other courts to issue writs. Are we clear on this? Now one more thing. We all know very well that we can directly go to the Supreme Court to obtain the writs, right? But Supreme Court has said in a judgment, PN Kumar case, that if your rights are getting violated, you please go to High Court first. In case of violation of fundamental rights. So normally Supreme Court will not accept your petition. They'll say go to High Court first. And one more thing, always remember this point. Supreme Court and High Courts can't issue writs to each other. Supreme Court has said this in 2002. So in one case, actually Supreme Court Supreme Court said that, see, there's a kind of misunderstanding in the country with respect to the court system. Though the judgments, orders of high courts are liable to be corrected, I am quoting verbatim, almost verbatim Supreme Court judgment. So Supreme Court said that though the verdicts or the judgments of high courts are liable to be corrected by the Supreme Court in its appellate jurisdiction or under Article 136, The high courts are not constituted as inferior courts. Therefore, the Supreme Court would not issue a writ under Article 32 to high courts. Of course, and vice versa. Are we clear? No, Kumkum. I am telling you, the court has said that this can't be done because the high courts are not placed as some inferior court in the constitutional scheme. Do you understand this point? Now, I am exactly telling the same thing. High court is not some lower or inferior court, as said by Supreme Court only. Abhishek, can Parliament reduce the power of writs of? Yes, it can through our amending the constitution and through ratification by states. Can it be cancelled? Yes, it can be cancelled by the Supreme Court. Now, what are these writs? There are 5 types of writs. Please follow very carefully. They are very easy to understand. Writ number 1 is habeas corpus. Have the body of. Have you ever seen the movies of 70s and 80s? If you have not, I'll tell you. Single line story. In these 70s, 80s movies, what used to happen was the hero was always this amazing personality. Topper in college, great singer, dancer, plays guitar, synthesizer, teetotaler, never drinks, never smokes. But somehow, because of excessive arrogance and attitude, could not get a government job or any job. And always ends up falling in love with a rich man's daughter. Always. And then he's busy singing songs. Rather than going out and searching for a job, singing songs in the park. And then when one day rich man, the daughter's father, he's crossing the road in his car and he observed them singing. He goes back home, is very angry, waiting for the daughter. Daughter comes home, singing, giggling, laughing, as you do in love, cringy things. So he takes the daughter, holds her hand, takes her, climbs the entire stairs, rich people, and throws her in the room and locks the door. The daughter runs and falls on the bed and starts crying. Right? Now, what does this guy do? Now, this guy is singing songs, sad songs. Arey bhai, please understand. Had the guy read the constitution properly, and from me that he would know, he can simply approach the High Court or Supreme Court and ask the court, please issue a writ of habeas corpus. Order the father to present the girl in the court because the girl has been held in captivity against her will. Her Article 21 is getting violated. And the court cannot refuse. Can't be refused by the court. Because it involves Article 21. It will be secured as a matter of right. Are we clear? Now, that's entirely another story that if the girl comes to court and asks the guy, who are you? I am not liable for such things. But if it happens ever in your life, please use habeas corpus. Okay? Clear, everyone? But yes, if in the court the other person denies and says, stupid fellow, stupid girl, stupid boy, harassing me, then please don't come to me. It's a now double embarrassment. It's all on you. This writ can be used against a public person, meaning the police, or a private person also, meaning this rich father. Clear? Yes, in the movie Jai Bhim also, Surya was filing a writ of habeas corpus. Absolutely correct. I hope now you understand what is habeas corpus. Clear, everyone? But before using habeas corpus, a better thing would be to clear the job, become an IS, and then nobody will reject you. Trust me. Okay? If you remain unemployed, everybody will reject you. So better become an IAS officer. Again, a motivation. Today is the day full of motivations. Okay. Now the next is mandamus. What is mandamus? If you have gone to a public office, Dheeraj, what if till then she gets married? That is why, Dheeraj, clear the exam quickly. Don't waste time. Study every day. Now, what is mandamus? If you have ever gone to a public office, government department, have you found this site that the government official there is busy playing Candy Crush on his phone or busy playing Spider Solitaire on the computer, roaming around here and there, has not come on time, right? Pretty common sight. Till a few years earlier, they were perpetually on a lunch break, or they'd bring vegetables to chop there only, knitting sweaters, etc., doing their kids' homework. Anyway, if a public official is not performing his tasks properly, you can go to the court and ask the court, issue the writ of mandamus, command the person to perform the task properly. Now, this can be used only against public officials. Don't go to court and ask the court, issue a writ to my father, ask him to give me the new iPhone 15 Pro Max. You will get slaps, etc. Not everyone. I think somebody said that their parents don't hit them. So nice, very good. Others, no. Please don't try all this. It is only for public officials. But yes, one more thing. Or private individuals who are performing public functions. Private individuals who are performing public functions. For example, if you are a contractor who has been given a government contract, insofar as the contract is concerned, you are a public official. And if you are not performing the task of building the road on time, I can move the court and ask the court to issue a writ of mandamus. Now, the court can refuse also based on circumstances, unlike habeas corpus. But you can't go to court and ask the court, issue order to governor, sign the bill. Issue order to president, sign the bill. Or to legislature also. You can't go to court asking the court, ask the parliament to pass a bill. That can't be done. Dhanya, if the court failed to perform duty, then God is the only hope. What can we do? If nobody is helping you out, then what to do? Yes, possible, Lakshmi. Then, next is prohibition and certiorari. So, what is prohibition? I'll ask a question first. Please tell me, please. Can a lower court interpret the constitution? Great. It cannot. Don't type yes anyway. Somebody will type yes to disappoint me. No, it cannot. Can the High Court interpret the constitution? Yes, it can. High Court and Supreme Court can interpret the Constitution Court of Records. Okay. Now, people go to courts to ask or rather seek widening the ambit or scope of these fundamental rights. So recently a person went to court saying that, quote, I am suffering. My job, I hate my job. People at the job also hate me, right? But when I come back home in the evening, I bring a bottle of whiskey, open the bottle, pour some pegs, drink a couple of pegs, and I sit back and relax. And when I drink, I forget all the worldly problems and I am relaxed. He said, quote, please also interpret Article 21, right to life, to also include right to drink and forget the worldly problems. The court said, leave immediately. So people go to court for various such silly things also, right? That's what is there. Suppose somebody here goes to court and says, court, please make right to smoke ganja, marijuana as a part of right to relax. Okay? You have filed this case in the lower court. Right to relax. The problem is the lower court is not the place where this case can be filed. You have by mistake filed this case in a wrong place. So, if the high court comes to know, it will order the lower court, stop it. Don't take up this case. It is beyond your jurisdiction. Are we clear? So, it is issued against a lower court about to commence proceedings in a case over which it has no jurisdiction. You are asking the lower court to interpret the constitution. It has no power to do it. So it prevents the lower court from usurping, taking over jurisdiction with which it is not vested. Higher court will immediately stop the lower court. Are we clear, everyone? Prohibition. But what if the judge is very excited? He accepts the case that, come on, bring the case. I will interpret the constitution. What if the judge accepts the case? Or forget it. The judge accepts the case and passes judgment also that yes, right to relax. Article 21. Judgment given. And both you and judge start smoking ganja there only in the court. What if this happens? So, of course, the court has crossed its jurisdiction. And if this happens, certiorari can be issued. If the court has started the proceedings, the higher court will tell the lower court, how dare you? Bring it. Bring it here. The case is mine. Or scenario 2, what if the lower court is super excited and gives a judgment only? So in this case, what will the higher court do? Higher court will say, lower court, your judgment is cancelled. Higher court will quash, cancel the verdict. See, the question here is not whether the judgment is right or wrong. The question here is that the lower court was not authorized to give a judgment like this. Are you able to understand the difference here? Maybe the judgment is right. Who cares? The point is you are not allowed to give a judgment because it is not your area of influence. Clear? Certiorari is more of an extension of prohibition. Ilamuhil, I am able to understand or not able to understand? No punishment for judge. No, Ananya. Why being so angry on judge? It's okay. I know 10 other studies are making you angry. Don't be so angry on judge. It's okay. Okay, great then. Last is quo warranto. What is quo warranto? By what authority? Have you seen this typical situation which happens with Mr. Rahul Gandhi every time? Every time before the election, somebody will file a case in court. That court, please ask Rahul Gandhi to prove that he is an Indian citizen. How dare he contest elections? Why, he is an Indian citizen. But if you go to court and say, no, please issue a writ of quo warranto. By what authority is Mr. Rahul Gandhi contesting elections? He does not meet the eligibility criteria. and the court will issue a writ. And if the court finds merit, then the court can remove the person also. Right? I'm sure you have seen this movie. A lot of you are diehard fans of this movie. By what right? Okay. Or I'll give you a better example. Let's say in your life only, you have wasted your time completely, did not clear UPSC. Now you are 32 years of age. And then what happens? You realize your mistake, that, oh, I should have studied properly. A friend comes to you and says, listen, I'll get you a certificate which will increase your age limit, OBC certificate. You prepare. And then you say, okay, I'll study. And you study properly, practice mock tests, revise every time, and next year clear the examination. Rajya Sabha TV, Lok Sabha TV, Z News, everybody is coming to your house. You're making all these tall claims. I did not study at all. I was naturally born to clear the examination. All the nonsense. You are celebrating. But your neighbor is not happy. That's a duty of the neighbor, to be unhappy at the success of the neighbor. And the neighbor is worried. How did he clear the examination? How did she clear it? She has crossed the age. Neighbor takes out the diary that he has maintained against you. That's a duty of the neighbor, right? To tell your parents what you are doing on the road, with whom you are roaming around, whether you are smoking or not, right? And he finds that you are now 34, last year 33. How did you clear the examination? How are you eligible? The neighbor goes to court, files a case, tells the court, issue a writ, ask this fellow, does he meet the eligibility criteria or not? So the idea is, are you eligible to hold office or not? This is the question. And if it is answered, good. And if the court finds you not guilty, the court will say, come on, get lost, removed. This is quo warranto, the writ of quo warranto. Are we clear with every writ now? Okay. See, these writs can be filed by anybody. The locus standi is not there in all these writs. Any informed person can go and file these writs now. Don't think that you have to be the affected party to file these writs. Anyway, solve this question came in the year 2022. Read the question, solve it, and then I'll open the poll. Okay, poll now. Great. So mandamus will not lie against a private organization unless it is entrusted with the public duty. Of course, one is correct. Mandamus will not lie against a company even though it may be a government company. But if it's a government company, mandamus does lie against it. 2 is wrong. Remove 2 and you have the answer. Any public-minded person can be a petitioner to move the court to obtain the writ of quo warranto. Absolutely correct. No locus standi. Anybody can approach. So that's it. Done with the fundamental rights. Uh, can I just extend for 10 more minutes to finish the three basic provisions? Or is it too much? Most of you are saying yes, sir. Let's proceed. 10 more minutes. Very easy. No information, just basic things. See, Article 33, what it says is, see, do you remember a few years back, there was this BSF Jawan who got inspired by TikTokers and made a video of the poor quality of food in BSF? Do you remember? If not, this was the story. And he was removed from service. Think of it. You are in the armed forces. Your senior tells you, go and attack Pakistan, kill the soldiers. And you say, wait, Article 21, right to sleep, I am going to sleep. What is this? So sometimes for certain people to inculcate discipline, etc., some of your rights can be curtailed and it is fully justified. Are we clear? It is fully justified. Parliament can make laws to curtail fundamental rights of certain categories of people. For example, we have the Army Act, we have the Navy Act, we have the Air Force Act, we have the Police Force Restriction of Rights Act 1966. Through these rights, through these laws, the rights of people in these services can be restricted. They may not be allowed to enjoy full fundamental rights. Are we clear? All those IPS officers, you may not enjoy all your rights, so please clear the exam, get a very good score, become IAS. Last motivation today. Article 34, military rule. What is military rule? Martial law. Way back in the 19th century, Paca rebellion in your history classes. So what is this martial law? Basically, the idea is that this is a state. In this state, a small part of the state, what has happened? Complete breakdown of law and order. Complete breakdown. And the local state machinery, the SP, the DM, they are not able to restore the law and order. They have given up. We can't do anything now. If this happens, then the parliament can send the military. Let armed forces go inside, teach them a lesson, restore law and order. So armed forces can come inside, take over the administration, and when the armed forces come inside, military rule, there is no SP, no DM, no court, nothing. The military rules. The government and ordinary law courts are all suspended. It's the armed forces which rule the area. And once law and order is restored, the army says, okay, tata bye bye, I'm leaving now. Take back the charge. They leave. Clear? This is called martial law. It has never been imposed in our country so far. Never been imposed since independence. Clear? So normally when martial law is there, it may affect your fundamental rights. Your rights can be violated. But of course, always remember, Article 21 can never be violated. It is not possible to take away habeas corpus. Clear? And there is no such provision. What will happen? What rights are violated? How will they be violated? Nothing is mentioned. So when this is imposed, the parliament will decide on that point of time what to do. So it is implicit, no provision, no guidelines. Yes, our neighbors love martial law. Of course, Pakistan, yes. This is Article 34 and the last fundamental right, Article 35. It is not a right but just a provision that there are certain things on which only parliament can make laws. For example, providing residence as a criteria for employment, Article 16 clause 3, or Punishment for the practice of untouchability, the PCRA. Such laws can be made only by the parliament. Traffic in human beings and forced labor. Such laws can be made only by the parliament. Empowering other courts to issue writs. Such laws can be made only by the parliament. Then Article 33 to restrict the rights for certain categories of people and for imposing martial law. These can only be done through the parliament. No palak. We don't know that also because nothing is mentioned for martial law. Martial law has never been imposed. I mean, in the British times, yes, the Sepoy Mutiny, so as the Britishers used to call it, or the Paka Rebellion of 1817, 1818 in Cuttack. So we don't know what can happen in a martial law. Nothing is mentioned. We'll have to wait for the parliament to decide. Manasi, yes, I would request you to remember for which articles only parliament is allowed to make laws. Okay? Done. And before we end, I think you know this, that under Article 358, Article 19 is suspended during national emergency if it is done on the grounds of war or external aggression. And under Article 359, your right to move to court is suspended. Yes? So to just summarize everything now, the nature of rights. Most of these rights are available against the state. State shall not discriminate, right? State will not take away life. But sometimes some rights are against others also. Article 17. What is Article 17? Untouchability. People practice untouchability. They should not do it. Article 23. Nobody can impose forced labor on you. Article 24. Nobody should employ kids. Are we clear? Simple. Then rights are in general negative obligations. Negative obligations. State shall not. Basically, it is not a right if you think of it. It is a restriction on the state. That is why we say fundamental rights are restrictions on the state. State cannot do so many things. Then some are positive. For example, Article 21 capital A. Is it not an example of a positive right? State has to provide avenues for education. Then some rights are self-executory, others require a law, like Article 17, untouchability, right to education, Article 23, Article 24. Fundamental rights are justiciable in nature. What is the meaning of justiciable? Tell me quickly. Justiciable. It means it can be claimed in the court. Justiciable. Then rights are not absolute, restrictions can be imposed on them. We know this. Then some rights are meant only for citizens. I think I sang this song too many times. 15, 16, 19, 29, 30. Then rights can be suspended during emergency. Rights can be modified in their application to special services, which is nothing but Article 33. Rights are amendable. Are we clear? Fundamental rights are amendable. It is not that these are beyond any kind of modification. That's it. We are done with fundamental rights. Over. Khatam. Enjoy life. Now you know all these rights. Enjoy these rights. File cases in court after clearing examination. Firstly, study. So tomorrow is a holiday. No task for you except the task of revising fundamental rights 3 to 4 times. The only task I am telling you to do is the PPT on fundamental rights 4 to 5 times. Is this possible? Okay. No, Dinesh, right to life can never be suspended. Okay. FOSE, freedom of speech and expression. Next class is on Tuesday. Okay, that'll be the last class. Also on Tuesday, we'll be discussing. We'll have one more doubt session, but that's a doubt session. Tuesday is the last class on polity. A small topic DPSP, a small topic fundamental rights, and fundamental duties, and then official languages, and then we'll end our discussion with the preamble. Sir, Article 21 is something else in Google. Sir, I don't know about Google. I know the Constitution, sir. Amit, why will Google lie to you, sir? It's the same thing. Vaibhav, it is way more information than what is required. So don't worry. And don't focus on a book. Focus on PYQs. I think you have a wrong impression, some of you, that I have to read some book. No, 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 no. No reading of book. Read the PYQs first. Rohit, there is no extra class on Tuesday. Tuesday is the regular class, the last class of polity. No, Ajit sir, I have mentioned these articles so many times here. Amit, consistency. Timetable will make you consistent. Timetable. Yes, yes, you can go now. Leave immediately. Dheeraj, sir, is Rajya Sabha part of state? Dheeraj, you tell me, sir. Parliament is a part of state. Should Rajya Sabha not be a part of state? How to analyze PYQs? Don't analyze too much. You please go through the PYQs, go through your notes, find out whether you can answer the question or not, and that is sufficient. Dvapayan, is there any law in the constitution by which we can remove democracy system? No, Dvapayan, we cannot. Democracy is a basic structure. Roshan, in the last class, I'll explain this. Shashank, point of order means if at any point of time any person feels that the decorum of the house is not being maintained properly, the house is not being run through proper rules, regulations, he can raise this motion and say, see what is happening. That is called point of order. That is all for me, guys. Jai Hind. Sir, why someone will try to convert? Sir, maybe he does not like his own religion. Maybe he has been given some incentive. Maybe he's expecting a great afterlife. Who knows? Ruchi, public order. Public order refers to the breakdown of law and order in a larger area, which is difficult to restore. So the only difference between public order being disturbed and law and order being disturbed is that if the impact is on a larger scale, which is difficult to restore, that is called public disorder. Benika, this varies from state to state. Lot of states have their own criteria for upper ceiling on the land limit. You'll have to see your own state laws and find out what is the upper ceiling limit in your state for land holding. Rajan, sir, if state wants property for public interest, then the state can't take. No, it can take. Sorry. Actually, it may not take it for a religious property because of a lot of these concerns. But state can always take public property. That is called an eminent domain of the state. Okay, Sandeep, thank you so much. Yes, Tarun, of course. Harsh, explain 359 again, please. Sir, emergency provisions. What are you saying? 10-15 minute topic. I'll explain briefly for you. Article 359 says that if emergency is imposed on any ground, national emergency, then the president can issue an order and can suspend your right to move to court to protect your fundamental rights for that duration of emergency. That's it. Yes, Vaibhav, sufficient. along with your Yojna Kurukshetra monthly magazine and editorials. Anushka, Vaibhav, last class on Tuesday, we'll discuss all these things on a more appropriate strategy for the preparation, including a more relevant timetable. Okay, guys. Yes, Ramya, as far as I'm concerned, it's sufficient. Don't worry, we'll meet on Tuesday again, and I'll be more elaborate on what exactly is a requirement as far as polity is concerned. Roshan, the task is mentioned here. This is the only task for tomorrow. Celebrate Gandhi Jayanti, but don't forget to revise 4 to 5 times. Okay, I hope you're not bored because of the long session, guys. That is all for me. Amazing for you also to be able to sit and contribute actively till 8 p.m. Thank you so much. Okay, so that is all as far as our discussion for today is concerned. Let's meet on Tuesday. Till then, that is all for me. Jai Hind.